Hey there guys, Next Striker here, back again for another Young Justice video. And today we're going to talk about a topic that has been going around in the community from what I've been seeing across my various comment sections of my videos, as well as I'm sure other people's videos and content as well. And that is the continuation or possible cancellation or end of Young Justice. So this is of course a hot topic because ever since the end of Season 2 with its cancellation, people never even knew if we would get a third season. I was honestly kind of thinking that we never would because it had been so long, and then we finally got one after so many attempts, which was a great victory for the fandom and the community and really comic book fans in general, not just DC, because it's a great show that people really enjoy. But of course, with that, people are wondering, is Season 3 going to be the end of the series, or are we going to get a Season 4 and beyond? So today we're really going to kind of discuss that, look at the possibilities and what factors have led us to this point, and really just take a look back into the history of DC, because we have to look back in the past to see how things will play out in the future. So we're actually going to start with Batman the Animated Series, which was the first significant animation from DC in quite a while. We had, of course, the Super Friends, we had some Batman, some Scooby-Doo crossovers with Batman, stuff like that, but really, Batman the Animated Series broke new ground, and this is one that's well documented. There's plenty of commentary behind the scenes, stuff like that. And we know that from the creators that the show was not really given any sort of plot. It was very episodic because at the time a lot of cartoons were like that. Cartoons in general did not have big overarching stories because they were meant to be watched episodically. So, in other words, you could watch one episode and it really wouldn't matter what episode you watched. It's not like TV now where basically if you miss an episode you're kind of screwed because you don't know what the heck's going on. Young Justice early on was also pretty episodic, if you guys remember in Season 1. Yes, it did have some elements that carried over like any cartoon or any series, but for the most part, a lot of the episodes were episodic. It wasn't really until later where they started carrying a lot more themes over and a bigger plot line. But yes, early Season 1 Young Justice was pretty episodic for the most part, aside from a few elements. Same can be said for a lot of DC's other cartoons and animated series. So with Batman, despite being this award-winning, super popular TV show that people adore, even to this day people love it. So even back then, before the nostalgia goggles, before, all the Blu-ray, DVD, people wanting all the toys, vintage toys, whatever, it was a super popular series. I think that goes without saying, and the show still got ended. The reason why is because Warner Brothers said, okay, we're done with this show. It's really just like that, guys. With Warner Brothers, it's really just an executive decision. They'll say, okay, we're done with this show now, let's move on. And the reason why they wanted to move on is because they wanted a younger, more hip Batman to compete with. I think they were trying to go with more of a Spider-Man thing. Spider-Man 99, or 2099 was a thing in the comics in the 90s, I believe it was. As well as, I can't really think of any other competition there really was, but they wanted a more young, hip Batman that could appeal to the younger age. And if you really look at Batman, I mean, they did this with the Robins. We had teenage Robin in most of Batman, and then they had a kid Robin, which was Tim Drake, in Season 4, which, Season 4 was very different from the rest of the show. And it's not that it wasn't popular, it's just that DC decided, oh, hey, we're kind of done and we want a younger Batman. But I can't remember exactly why they wanted a younger Batman, aside from just wanting to appeal to the youth. I remember watching the commentary on it, but I can't honestly remember the reason. Maybe someone else can jog my memory or go and look back at it. But anyway, the point is, they wanted a younger Batman series. So the creators behind Batman the Animated Series were like, oh, okay, so we gotta kind of come up with something. And instead of doing they could have went a lot of directions. They could have made a Nightwing series, which I guess if they wanted Batman, they still probably would have rejected that. But Nightwing would have been a cool series, honestly. Probably wouldn't have had as much legs as a new Batman series, but anyway, that's besides the point. So they created Batman Beyond, which was something that was not based on any source material. Batman Beyond was something that was brand new, and just like with Batman the Animated Series, they were really just going episodic, having some themes that carried over for the most part. And a big theme along a lot of these DC shows is that they don't know how long they're going to last. I mean, they make a whole season and then just cross their fingers and hope, okay, let's see if we get another season. And that's pretty much how it goes. I mean, with Batman Beyond, they tell them, hey, you have 13 episodes, you have a season, make whatever you want, basically. Not whatever you want. I'm sure they have some input or have some suggestions, and they have to, adhere to the censorship and all that. So they do that. And of course, occasionally they get some animated films, which Young Justice is the first major one, aside from, well, let's see, Justice League, that didn't really get an animated feature, which is kind of odd if you look at it, because Teen Titans got one, Batman, the animated series, got one. Well, Superman didn't get one either. Static didn't. So I guess really just Batman Beyond, and Teen Titans, oddly enough, all got them. But they were super popular series. But anyway, so the big theme here is that they don't really know how long these seasons, how long these arcs, whatever. They don't know how long they're going to last. And honestly, it's been the same across the entire board. Even with Justice League, as far as Justice League, they really had no clue how long is the show going to go. And eventually they said, okay, well, we're done. Pull the plug. We're done. Rarely is it ever a thing where the creators just say, well, you know what, we're going to wrap up the show. If I can honestly think back, I don't think that's ever been a thing with any of the DC shows. I think they all have ended prematurely. Well, with Batman the Animated Series and Superman, I think they had enough time to really flesh out a lot of the things. Batman Beyond was fairly fleshed out. But if you look at shows like Teen Titans, that ended earlier than it was supposed to. They wanted another season and they didn't get it, so they did some stuff with the comics. Static Shock definitely did not end when it was supposed to end. That ended kind of on a cliffhanger as far as I can remember. Young Justice, I mean, of course, Young Justice ended on a cliffhanger for so long. And with Young Justice, again, it was the same thing. They give them a number of episodes and they say, okay, make the season. I think nowadays, perhaps they do have a little bit more control of the number of episodes. Like, they don't give them a specific number as far as I know. I mean, it still could be the same way, but I know that from history, they did give them an exact number of episodes. So, it could be a kind of collaborative process where they give them a number of episodes based on the arc and they approve it or something like that. It could be different now that Young Justice has gone digital. But a big thing to remember, you have to kind of look at why Young Justice lasted as long as it did, and oddly enough, they blame it a lot on merchandise. Now, merchandise is something that they have wanted to push for all of these cartoons, and for whatever reason, people didn't buy enough Young Justice merch, meaning the comics, the apparel, the toys, all of it. And it's poor advertising, honestly, because if you look at Teen Titans, despite Teen Titans Go being this completely awful series, it still gets to keep going because it's so widely viewed over and over. Well, Cartoon Network, honestly, seriously overplays the show because it's such a simplistic little show. And also, it has the Teen Titans, which was already a popular series. The merch, I'm guessing, is selling fairly well. And, I guess they advertise Teen Titans Go better. Of course, they play it like 500 times over what they need to, so it makes sense. With Young Justice, they didn't get any of that. You didn't really know that these things existed. A lot of fans straight up didn't even know there were toys, there were comics, this sort of thing, until after it was already over, which sucked. And the fact that they would pin it all on merchandise, to me, I thought that was stupid. And there was definitely more at work than just the merchandise. That's just the only thing that they came up with to shut the fans up. They're, kind of blaming, like, oh, not enough merchandise sales. In this day and age, kids don't really play with toys that much anyway, aside from people that just collect them and look at them in their box in their basement or whatever. I mean, just, people collect stuff, it's whatever, but I don't think kids are as into toys nowadays as they used to be. That's just kind of how it is. So, that kind of, well, Young Justice, to me, I think what happened with Young Justice was it kind of got stuck in this paradigm shift because people were going away from TV, and people are really going away from TV now. Kids are going more into the electronics and less away from actually playing with toys. And this is another big thing. Young Justice, despite doing well with ratings, it's still, they didn't give it the best block, first off, because a lot of its demographic was older. Yes, they wanted to appeal to kids. It appealed to kids, but a lot of older people liked it because of the storyline, because of the characters, stuff like that. The the time that they play the episodes was terrible. Early and Saturday morning. Terrible time. It should have been the afternoon. Honestly, Friday afternoon probably would have been perfect because that's when most kids are out of school. They watch all their Friday cartoons, their Saturday cartoons, whatever. It's better to have an afternoon block, which is what they've done with a lot of their actual new popular Cartoon Network shows, is they give them the afternoon block of whatever. Like Monday, whatever, they'll play regular show or whatever it is. You get the point. They'll play it in the afternoon because people watch it in the afternoon. A lot of people nowadays also use DVR. So a lot of these things were kind of coming in as Young Justice was going out. Now it's on a digital service, and this is going to be a very interesting thing because there's going to be people that pirate it, obviously, because people don't want to get the DC streaming service. Had they put it on Netflix, which some people still think it's on Netflix for whatever reason. If it had been on Netflix, it probably would have done better, honestly, because now that we're doing, a lot of companies are now doing this. Oh, now it's an exclusive service, the Disney exclusive service, the Netflix exclusive service, Hulu. You get the point. There's like 500 different services coming about now, and DC's really going to have to pull their weight. Unlike what they did with the DC block at the time, which fell apart and became the Teen Titans Go block, to really make people want that. And I think that is going to play a part in Young Justice surviving. Do I know if there's going to be anything past Season 3? No, I do not. No one knows at this point. Not even the creators know. You're really going to have to see how well this show performs and how things go. However, I am going to say this. Because so many people fought for so long for Young Justice to survive, I find it extremely unlikely that they would end it on Season 3 unless the creators straight up planned it to be the end. I don't think they planned it to be the end. One, because they just got it back after 5 years. They're not going to try and end it after 5 years. They're just not. And because of how much fan support the show got, I do believe that it has a high likelihood of getting a Season 4. However, the big thing that's going to play a factor is this DC streaming service. How many people are actually going to watch it? Because a lot of people are just saying, hey, I'm just going to use the free week, watch all the episodes. If it comes out week by week, people aren't really going to be able to do that unless they wait till the end. If it gets released all at once, however, that might be a thing. It's going to be difficult to figure it out. I think perhaps the Blu-ray will be better received, and a lot of people are going to buy that, as opposed to getting this exclusive DC service. I think that really is going to affect DC in the long run. But in my opinion, yeah, I think Young Justice is going to get probably 4 or 5 seasons. If I had to guess, maybe even more. But I think 5 seasons would be enough for them to be able to successfully wrap it up, put enough characters, whatever. But who knows? I mean, the more Young Justice, the better, as long as the quality is consistent. But given that we're going into this new digital age, we really don't know. This is going to be a lot different from the TV era, where things are based on views, based on merchandise. I don't know how the merchandise is going to play into this. I hope if they're really basing it off merchandise, they advertise it this time. Because if they don't, I mean, they're going to shoot themselves in the foot again. So it's up to you, Warner Brothers and DC, to get your act together on this one. You're really going to have to sell people on that DC streaming service, and hopefully the cost is not too much to where people aren't going to have to spend an arm and a leg just to get this streaming service, on top of already having Netflix, Hulu, all that garbage, right? Your PlayStation, your Xbox service, your Nintendo service. There's so many different digital services now. And on top of that, people are buying their TV stations by the station as opposed to cable. People are cutting the cable. There's a lot going into this, and I think people really do have to see the big picture. On top of, they just don't know. As well as, the past DC shows, they don't know how long this is going to go. So, anyway, this is a really long video, but there's a lot that goes into this, and I think people really do need to understand that. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. I really tried to break this down the absolute best I could. Thumbs up if you enjoyed. Please share this around for other people to see and to understand what's going into this season. So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thumbs up if you like, subscribe if you like, comment below any thoughts you have, and that's all I had for now. Catch you guys later.